Here's a powerful expansion of your first key point in a natural, flowing speech style. Life has a way of throwing unexpected twists and turns our way. We make plans, set goals, and map out our futures, thinking we have it all figured out. But how many times have things not gone the way we expected? How many times have we faced disappointment, heartbreak, or confusion, wondering why things didn't work out the way we wanted? That's where trust comes in. Trust in something greater than ourselves. Because the truth is, God's plan is always greater than ours. We see only a small piece of the puzzle. Our vision is limited to what's right in front of us, what we feel, what we understand. But God, He sees the whole picture. He knows what's ahead, what's best, and what will lead us to where we truly need to be. And sometimes that means closing doors we wanted to walk through, redirecting us when we thought we were on the right path, or delaying something we desperately wanted. Not because He's punishing us, not because He's forgotten us, but because He knows there's something better waiting. Think about the times in your life when things didn't work out the way you planned. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't last, an opportunity that slipped through your fingers. In that moment, it probably felt like a loss, like a setback. But looking back, how many of those so-called disappointments turned out to be blessings in disguise? Maybe that job you didn't get led you to something even greater. Maybe that relationship that ended made room for the right person to come into your life. Maybe that opportunity you missed protected you from something that wasn't meant for you. That's the power of trusting in God's plan. It's understanding that what we want isn't always what we need. It's accepting that sometimes the answer is a not yet, or even a no, because there's something greater waiting. It's believing that even in our struggles, even in our losses, even in our pain, God is working all things together for our good. But trust isn't always easy. It's hard to have faith when you're in the middle of the storm. It's hard to see the bigger picture when all you feel is hurt and confusion. That's why we have to remind ourselves, God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. What may not make sense now will make sense later. What feels like rejection today will make room for something better tomorrow. What seems like a failure now may just be a setup for something greater down the road. When you look at life through that lens, when you truly trust that God's plan is greater than yours, you stop worrying so much. You stop trying to force things that aren't meant to be. You stop stressing over things you can't control, because you know that no matter what happens, God's got you. He's leading you, guiding you, and taking you exactly where you're meant to be. So if you're facing uncertainty right now, if you're feeling lost, if things aren't going the way you planned, take a deep breath. Let go of the need to control everything. Surrender it to God. Trust that He knows what He's doing. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to. Here's the expanded segment for your second key point. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience. It has the ability to hold us back, to make us doubt ourselves, to keep us stuck in situations we were never meant to stay in. Fear whispers in our ears, telling us we're not good enough, that we'll fail, that we'll never make it, and too often, we listen. We allow fear to dictate our decisions, to control our actions, to shape our lives. But here's the truth, fear is a liar. It's an illusion, and the only way to silence it is through faith. When you truly trust in God, fear loses its grip on you. It doesn't mean fear won't try to creep in, but it means you no longer have to bow to it. Because faith and fear cannot exist in the same space. One will always overpower the other. When you choose faith, you are choosing to believe that no matter what happens, God is in control. And you are choosing to walk forward even when you don't see the whole path. You are choosing to trust that even in the unknown, you are never alone. Think about the moments in your life when fear tried to stop you. Maybe it was the fear of failure that kept you from chasing your dream. Maybe it was the fear of rejection that stopped you from taking a risk. Maybe it was the fear of the future that kept you paralyzed, too afraid to move forward. But what happened when you pushed past that fear? What happened when you took that leap of faith, even when you were unsure of what was on the other side? More often than not, you realized that what you were afraid of was never as powerful as you thought. That's because fear magnifies problems, making them seem bigger than they really are. But faith shrinks them down to size. Faith reminds you that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to see the whole picture. You don't have to have it all figured out. God does. Faith tells you that even in your weakest moments, even in your most uncertain times, you are not alone. And when you truly embrace that, fear no longer controls you. Now, I'm not saying life will always be easy. I'm not saying you'll never feel afraid again. But what I am saying is that fear should never have the final say, because every time fear tries to hold you back, you have a choice to stay stuck in it or to walk forward in faith. And every single time you choose faith, you grow stronger. Every single time you trust God over your fears, you move closer to the person you were meant to be. So whatever it is you're afraid of right now, whatever is keeping you up at night, whatever is making you second guess yourself, let it go. Give it to God. Walk forward anyway. Because fear is temporary, but faith lasts forever, forever. Here's the expanded segment for your third key point. We live in a world that wants everything right now. Instant success, immediate results, quick fixes. We don't like waiting. We get frustrated when things take longer than expected. We start questioning, doubting, wondering if what we're hoping for will ever happen. But here's the thing, God's timing is not our timing. And when you truly understand that, when you really trust it, you learn to wait with peace instead of frustration. How many times have you prayed for something, believing with all your heart that it should have already happened? Maybe it's a dream you've been working toward, a breakthrough you've been waiting on, or a situation in your life that you just wish would change. And when it doesn't happen right away, it's easy to feel discouraged. It's easy to think maybe it's never going to happen. But what if the delay isn't a denial? What if God is preparing something bigger than you ever imagined? So many times in life, we think we're ready for something when we're not. We think we're prepared, that we can handle it, that the time is now. But God, in His wisdom, sees what we can't. He knows what's ahead. He knows what still needs to be developed in us before we step into certain blessings. And if we receive something too soon before we're ready for it, we might mishandle it. We might lose it. We might not be able to sustain it. That's why trusting God's timing is so important. Look at any great success story, and you'll find seasons of waiting. You'll find moments when things didn't happen as quickly as expected. You'll find people who had to trust even when they didn't understand. Because what God is building takes time. He doesn't rush the process. He refines, He strengthens, He prepares. And when the time is right, when you're truly ready, what He has for you will come together in a way that no one can stop. But the waiting period isn't just about patience. It's about faith. It's about believing that even when you don't see progress, God is still working. It's about trusting that every delay has a purpose. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually protection. Sometimes it's preparation. And sometimes it's simply because God wants to do something even greater than what you asked for. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Start asking, what is God teaching me in this season? Because the waiting isn't wasted. The waiting is where you grow. It's where your character is built. It's where your faith is tested and strengthened. And when the time is right, what God has for you will be worth every single moment you waited. So don't rush the process. Don't lose faith just because it's taking longer than you expected. Trust that God knows what He's doing. Because when His timing aligns with your purpose, everything will fall into place in a way you never could have orchestrated on your own. Here's the expanded segment for your fourth key point. People will let you down. That's just the reality of life. Friends, family, colleagues, no matter how much they love you, no matter how well they mean, at some point, they will disappoint you. And you know what? You'll disappoint people too. Because we're all human, we make mistakes, we fall short. We say things we don't mean, or we don't show up when we should. It happens. But there's one who never fails, and that's God. God is not like people. He doesn't break promises. He doesn't change His mind. He doesn't leave when things get tough. He is constant, steady, faithful. And yet so often we put more trust in people than we do in Him. We look to others for validation, for security, for support, and when they don't come through, we feel lost. But the problem isn't just that people let us down. It's that we put expectations on them that only God can fulfill. Think about it. How many times have you felt hurt or disappointed because someone didn't meet your expectations? Maybe they didn't support you in the way you thought they would. Maybe they weren't there when you needed them most. And in those moments, it's easy to feel alone. It's easy to feel like no one truly understands, but God does. He sees you. He knows your heart, your struggles, your deepest thoughts, the things you don't even say out loud. And He is there, always. But trusting God doesn't mean life will be perfect. It doesn't mean you'll never face difficulties. What it does mean is that you will never have to face them alone. It means that even in your lowest moments, even when everything feels like it's falling apart, you can stand firm knowing that God has not abandoned you. He is working, even when you can't see it. Life will test your faith. There will be moments when you question everything. Times when you wonder if God even hears your prayers. But let me tell you something. Just because you can't see the way doesn't mean there isn't one. Just because things aren't happening the way you expected doesn't mean God isn't in control. His faithfulness isn't based on how you feel in the moment. It's based on who He is, and He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So, when people fail you, when plans fall apart, when life takes unexpected turns, don't let that shake your trust in God, because He never fails. He never fails. He never gives up on you. And if you hold on to that, if you truly believe that, then no matter what comes your way, you'll always have a foundation that cannot be shaken. Here's the expanded segment for your fifth key point. Trusting God isn't just about saying you believe. It's about building a real relationship with Him. And like any relationship, it requires communication. That's where prayer comes in. Prayer isn't just something you do out of routine. It's not just a set of words you repeat before a meal or before you go to bed. Prayer is a conversation. It's the way you connect with God, the way you bring your worries, your hopes, your struggles, and your gratitude to Him. It's how you strengthen your trust in Him. Think about any strong relationship in your life. What makes it strong? Communication. If you never talk to someone, if you never share your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences with them, how close can you really be? The same goes for God. If you want to trust Him more, you have to spend time with Him. You have to talk to Him, not just when things go wrong, not just when you need something, but every single day. But here's the thing. Prayer isn't just about asking for things. It's not a wish list. It's a connection. Sometimes the most powerful prayers aren't the ones where you're asking for something, but the ones where you're just being still, listening, allowing God to speak into your life, because He does speak. Sometimes it's through His word, sometimes through the people around you, sometimes through a feeling deep inside. But if you're too busy, too distracted, too caught up in the noise of life, you might miss it. That's why consistency in prayer matters. It's easy to pray when things are hard, when you're struggling, when you feel lost. But what about when things are good? What about when everything seems to be going right? That's when people tend to forget. That's when they start relying on themselves instead of on God. But the ones who truly trust Him, they pray in every season, in the highs and the lows, in the victories and the struggles, because they understand that prayer isn't just about getting answers, it's about staying connected. And here's the real beauty of prayer. It changes you. Maybe not always in the way you expect, but in the way you need. Sometimes God doesn't change your situation right away, but He changes your heart. He gives you peace where there was anxiety. He gives you strength where there was weakness. He gives you clarity where there was confusion. And the more you pray, the more you start to see things differently. You start to worry less, stress less, doubt less, because you know deep down that no matter what happens, you're not in this alone. So if you're struggling with trust, if you're finding it hard to believe that God is working in your life, start with prayer. Make it a habit, a priority, a part of your everyday life. Talk to God. Listen, stay connected, because the more you do, the stronger your trust will become. And when that trust is strong, nothing can shake it. Here's the expanded segment for your sixth key point. Sometimes, the best reminder to trust in God is looking back at all the times He's come through. Think about it. We've all had moments where we didn't know how we were going to make it. Moments where we were struggling, lost, confused, or broken. And yet, somehow we made it through. Maybe it wasn't in the way we expected. Maybe the journey was harder than we thought, but we're still here. That's not by accident. That's not just luck. God. When you really take the time to reflect on your life, you'll start to see patterns. Times when things seemed impossible, but then a way was made. Times when you thought you had lost everything, but then a new opportunity came. Times when you felt completely alone, but looking back, you realized God never left your side. That's why testimonies matter, because they remind us that if God did it before, he can do it again. And it's not just our own experiences that prove this. Look at the stories all around you. Talk to people who have walked through their darkest valleys and made it out stronger. Listen to those who were ready to give up but found new hope. When you hear testimony after testimony of God's faithfulness, it does something to your spirit. It strengthens you. It reminds you that no matter what you're facing right now, no matter how uncertain things seem, God is still in control. But here's the thing, your testimony isn't just for you. It's meant to be shared, because you never know who needs to hear it. You never know who is going through something similar, who is feeling hopeless, who is struggling to trust. Sometimes your story is the proof that someone else needs to keep going. Your experience, your journey, your survival, it's not just yours. It's a way to inspire, to encourage, to remind someone else that God is still working miracles. So when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to take over, remind yourself of the times God has shown up. Hold on to your testimony. Hold on to the proof that he has never failed you. Because when you remember what he's already done, it becomes easier to trust what he's still doing. When it all comes down to it, trusting God isn't just something we say, it's something we live. It's a daily decision to have faith when things don't make sense, to walk forward even when we don't see the full picture, and to believe that his plan is greater than anything we could ever imagine. Life will test that trust. There will be moments of fear, of waiting, of disappointment, but through it all, God remains faithful. We don't put our trust in people, in circumstances, or in what we can see with our own eyes. We put our trust in the one who has never failed, the one who sees the end from the beginning, the one who turns trials into testimonies and struggles into strength. So whatever season you're in right now, whether you're waiting on a breakthrough, battling fear, or questioning what's next, choose trust. Choose faith over doubt. Choose to believe that even when you can't see it, God is working. And when you do that, when you truly surrender, you'll find peace, purpose, and a strength that cannot be shaken. Keep trusting, keep believing, and watch what he does in your life.